When someone confronts you or makes false accusations about you in front of an audience, it may be difficult to respond without getting agitated or overly confrontational with them. The problem when you are a public figure is that anything you say can be changed or altered by the media to get more clicks on their article. And in this video, we are going to study an example of a famous tennis player who handled provocative remarks beautifully and see how you can do the same every time someone tries to act negatively around you.
Otro Grand Slam haya equiparación salarial entre mujeres y hombres. En muchos otros torneos esto no ocurre. ¿Qué opinión te merece que las mujeres cobren menos que los hombres en el tenis y en qué crees que se basa esa desigualdad? Gracias.
Pues no lo sé. No sé en qué se basa en el fútbol, o en el golf, o en el modelaje. No sé. ¿Por qué las mujeres ganan más que los hombres en el tema de la moda? Pues no lo sé. Pero ahí sí que tampoco hablamos todo el día de diferencia salarial.
The first big thing we can notice here is the emotional detachment he has when answering the question. Whenever you are getting attacked or somebody makes some provocative remark about you, if you can pause for a second and notice what is going through your mind and through your emotions at this exact moment, that might avoid a lot of unnecessary conflicts. Because if you answer exactly what he said from an angry standpoint, some overly emotionally reactive voice, then anything else will get even more confrontational in the conversation and people might argue with you even more. However, if you pose your tone of voice first and you respond with a calm attitude, so you have detached from the primary emotional reaction that was triggered in yourself, then what you say, first of all, will be heard much more easily and people will also respect what you have to say. And what is even more interesting than that is the tone of voice he's using at the beginning is almost like he was going to agree with her. And that is something I have used a few times too, when I am sensing the person is so pissed off, angry, they just want to project something on me, then I first answer like, yeah, and it is very interesting because I saw that too. And I first answer as if I was going to agree with that person, and then I change the argument into something much more where I am opposing resistance. But if you try to oppose resistance head-on first, the person is just going to react and resist also what you have to reply. If you first start by acknowledging or being slightly confused like he is, but not really being confrontational, simply saying, yeah, that is very interesting and I'm not sure, and what I would have to say is, but from a calm tempo, tone of voice, then anything else you say will receive a much better approval. And so in terms of language patterns, from the magical linguistic standpoint, let's pass that through the test. The inference she's making is being a woman in tennis or even in any sport means you get paid less. That is an injustice, that is not right. What he's using, according to this model, as a response is the pattern called the alternative view. When he says, well, being a woman in modeling, as well as some other professions, also means you get paid more than men are. And we might say those are only exceptions, but remember, in the beginning, he paused his voice. He was calm enough for people to listen. If he had rushed and yelled that, no, in modeling this is different, then from that behavior people are just going to strike back. But if you pause first, stay calm, and then patiently lead their mind to the fact that there is another context in which your inference does not apply, you are much less likely to keep arguing, because now you're more confused yourself about, yeah, okay, that's the point. Maybe I should just step down on my argument right now. To make it simple, the alternative view is about bringing some nuance to the claim being made by your opponent or the person you are having a conversation with. You change eventually certain terms into their claim, or you adapt some terms or give them a different definition, or you can also bring what he did here, their claim, into another context to see if their logic still fits. Right now, well, it does not fit. What this is teaching us is that Actually, being a woman does not automatically equal being paid less. That may be true in certain contexts, that is not true in every context though, which means that it may be a correlation, not a causality.
Salarial. Entiendo tu pregunta, pero es que llegamos a un momento dado que estamos haciendo todo el rato preguntas capciosas, preguntas que estamos buscando todo el rato la polémica, ¿no? Y a mí personalmente, como intento evitar la hipocresía habitualmente, pues contesto, y a veces aunque conteste de una manera que considero correcta y ecuánime, vosotros, sin ser una crítica más de la cuenta, os interesa más un titular que pueda vender que lo que yo digo, pues no te voy a contestar más sobre este tema, porque creo que contesto habitualmente de manera coherente y correcta, y a veces se tergiversan las palabras que yo digo.
Then he's completing by pointing out to her original intention, and that is kind of the final blow, because first of all, putting into question the inference somebody is making through such a soft pacing and leading, that will kind of confuse the person, especially considering his behavior, that was very chill, very relaxed, and then leading to pointing out, opening in the light her deeper intention. You're just asking that to get more clicks on your article, to sell more headlines. That is quite difficult to keep arguing with that, because the person has made a statement about something you didn't want to say, but he did not do that in a confrontational manner. At this point, that would be very hard to keep arguing with him, at least not in a way that would maintain you in favor of the audience here. But the brilliance of that simple answer is much more the emotional detachment. If you had said exactly what he said, exactly the same words, the same exact claims, the same exact reframing, but with a harsh, aggressive tone of voice and try to yell at the person, then what you would have said would have simply been ignored. Right here, he did not yell, he did not rush to get a word in, he simply paused, remained calm, and led the mind of that person and also people listening around into another version of reality, or to bring some nuance to the claim being made right here. That is a huge lesson in changing beliefs and how can you softly lead a person's mind into a new direction without being confrontational and aggressive. To that extent, I have also prepared a small document down below. I just finished writing this one, explaining how you can use that model, magical linguistics, to lead people's beliefs, including yours. I'm constantly using that on myself, by the way, to see where the limiting beliefs are and how can you change them in a completely soft manner. It doesn't have to be aggressive. I would keep the aggressive stuff for people who have openly disrespected you, or somebody who is purely a toxic person in your direct entourage and you know you just want to stay away from that person for good. In those cases, okay, some aggressive manners can be of use. Otherwise, in any other context, no, just stay calm, stay soft, and you can still lead somebody's mind to change easily by using several of the language patterns taught in that manual. You will find it down below. You can pass your own assumptions about what you can't achieve through that language machine to see how your own perception of what you are able to accomplish can evolve. You can even do that with the claims that you can't be a good communicator, or you can't hold the frame, or you can't seduce the people you want to seduce. Then where do those beliefs come from, and how can you change them to live a more optimistic life? That is down below. Check it if you want, and in any case, see you in the next video. Thank you.